Man, look, let's talk for a minute. Hey, the shit that be killing me, man, is I know I don't know everybody's struggle, right? We don't know everybody's struggle in life, what they go through. You know, we all go into these jobs that we do these jobs, we do these occupations, and we socialize. Is not well. I say socialize just because we not socialize. We interact with other people, and we all come from different walks of life. The thing that trips me out is people who go to these places, and it's like there's an anger, not an anger. Let me stop. Not an anger, but it's like people who just there's a certain level of just like not pleasantness, if that's a word. Like I understand, like you don't know people, but what I don't understand certain people when they come into these jobs and these positions. It's like a certain level of like fuck the world type shit. I understand that, man. I'm not a social person, but if I'm going into a job, this is my job. What is the purpose for me coming into that job and not being pleasant? Like not trying to learn, trying to do the job as best as you can. I really, and this goes. I've been this is shit I've been thinking about for a long time, and I'm really just coming on here talking. So excuse me if it sounds like I'm jumping from topic to topic, but you know, uh, dealing with different people in the occupation that I am in, it's like if you don't have, why are you here? Type of thing. That's one question I just be wanting to ask people. Why are you here? Like, are you here to learn? Are you here to build up your resume? I work in maintenance, right? So it's about the skills you know and the experience you have. So co-workers are people who are under me, or people who I work with, who are work associates. When I see that they're not there to learn, you got a whole family at home, right? And some of these skills you can take and put it on, put it on your resume. You can go in whenever your yearly review is up. You can say, look, I can tell you the ins and outs of how this building's HVAC system works. I can tell you the unit number and the service area of every unit in the building. And that what that does is it gives you leverage when you go in to your review to get more money. And I see people with kids, and it's like they don't even care. And the specific person I'm talking about is a black man with 3 kids, you know, a lot of potential, 27 years old. But, he comes in to work, he does his work orders, and he goes home. But he's not learning anything. And I've been in this position for close to, well, I've been at this spot for about 8 years, but in this position that I'm in now for a little bit. And when I see that, it just, I don't understand it. Like, why are you here? Like, if you're not trying to better yourself for your family, then what are you trying to better yourself for? Uh, Now, to go back to just being in general, just being a pleasant person to be around, um, that's something that I think is learned. And I did have to learn that in the first job I had. It was at a rug store. I was I was just a stock associate, just hanging the rugs, bringing them down when the customer want them, and all the rugs was hanging up. You gotta hang them up. You gotta take them down. You got when the truck come in, you gotta go, receive the truck, do the little papers and packing and all of that. So in that position, one thing that people would tell me is that I was. They would say, like, why don't you smile enough? Like, you don't smile enough. Like, I look angry. And as a black man in America, I feel like I'm not the only one who has been in that position. I feel like a lot of us black men, we have to, one thing we have to be aware of is how we come off, or how we present ourselves as far as our interactions with people. Because if we don't, I think a lot of, and then this, I'm not trying to be racist, but I think a lot of white people, when they see in a work environment a black man who they don't talk to, who doesn't speak, who, you walk past and you don't say shit, you just walk past, do your job, and yeah, that's, I understand that because I was that guy. But one thing that I have learned is the power of communication and just the power of being pleasant, the power of having an aura of peace that people gravitate to. And one thing that I have realized along with that is that when you are more pleasant, when you speak to people, especially if you're in a service environment, especially if you're in a public environment, when you do speak, when you do smile, you will ultimately get further. Now, people may say in the conscious sectors may say, "Oh, that's being a token Negro. You this one way, and then you go home and you another way." I say it's more of I'm in a survival mental where I know I'm gonna get further if I'm pleasant. You cannot be out here in the world and just say fuck everybody and think that everything's gonna just come to you. You have to be able to communicate, and that's one thing I've learned over the years is the art of communication, the art of making people feel, even if you don't really feel, good today, good if something happened at the house or something, even if you don't feel it, it's a certain level of leaving it at the door, going into work, do your job, have that aura of confidence, have that aura of, pleasantness, and whatever goes on there, not bringing it home at the same time. Like, it's a skill to that, and I definitely realized once I realized when people were saying that they think I'm always mad, I'm like, I'm not mad at nobody. I'm doing something wrong, and that's why I realized I was doing something wrong, and I corrected it. And when I corrected it, I actually that job I got to end up I wound up being the floor supervisor of the stock crew, which was only two other people, or at one point one other person, because it wasn't a huge store. But that company ended up going out of business, and they laid me off maybe half a year before they went out of business. So I'm kind of glad they let me off to be able to be in another position that definitely, when I learned that, I went into another work environment, and what I learned I used, and I seen how faster I grew, simply because I took what communication skills I did have and I applied them to the work environment, and I applied the simple. Hey, how's it going? It's very simple. Like, especially dealing, if your job does have, you do deal with customers. uh you know, I don't currently deal with customers like that, but I indirectly deal with them, meaning I'll walk past them. And just simply doing that alone, it's like you ultimately will get further. Now, I do want to go back to what I was talking about, the brother that I work with, who it's like he comes in, does his job, talks to nobody. He talks a lot actually, but it's actually none of the shit that he's talking to people about has nothing to do with his job. When he could be learning about the job and building his skill set up, it's more of a socialization talking, uh, which that's part of what I was just talking about. But in my field of maintenance, your skill set is your worth. You get paid what you know, and that's why I love maintenance, because uh, if I know more than I knew 2 years ago, then you're gonna have to pay me more for that. Uh, but I really just wanted to come on here and talk. Uh, a lot of these talks, I like to talk about things like this. No, it's not a flashy topic. It's not any of that. But to me, it's interesting just to see how different people are in the work environment, how they act in the work environment. And as black men, one thing, if you take anything away from this video, black man, all I would say, man, is when you out in that world, you will get further ultimately if you just be cool, man. Just be pleasant. Hey, how's it going? You know, eye contact. That's another thing. Eye contact. You know, these things, I think they're lost a lot of the times because we don't have examples of it. A lot of us, we weren't taught certain things. Strong handshake, to go to the cliches, eye contact, strong handshake. Of course, if it's a woman, you're not gonna squeeze her hand off. You're gonna do the handshake like this. Y'all, my fellas know what I'm talking about. When you shake a woman's hand, you're real dainty, like. But I said all of that to say, man, brothers, when we out in this world, just realize that you control. There are things you control, and there are things you don't control. But the things you can control, control. And I'm out, man. YJ.